Surprise, motherfucker.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yes, you understood it. You fucking asked me that. Well, to be fair, I can't always get hold of it. Well, fuck, you can try. You're gonna say like that.
You wasn't up to the standard. Are you talking about the same Eddie I was talking about? America.
Eddie Johnson.
Fuck yeah. This is what you used to sing every morning. America.
That, I'm adding that to the intro. You singing it and the real tune.
Motherfucking day.
Classic.
You used to come every morning and go,
America.
fuck yeah. Motherfucking day. That's what I used to say.
Yeah, I'd have to start my day. I'd be phoning him up every morning, like when we wake up. And
Eddie, you can't start the day like that. He went, fuck yeah. I used to say it every morning. I used to say, Eddie, you've not scored on the wee well. What's your thoughts? And he just went, fuck yeah. Why am I so good at it? That's the reason my play. Spent, my upbringing was, running away from the police. So,
going up to you and going, Kev! Game of Thrones is shite.
Oh my god.
McNaughton is taking out Miss Massey, our assistant. All in a day's work.
Hey guys, I'm Si, and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of the revamped, new look Kevin McNaughton Show. It is no longer crazy football, as we know. This is Super Kev Unscripted, and this is Series 2, Episode number 1. The show is available live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Ace Podcast Nation, of course, your home to many great shows and series featuring top guests, expert analysts, and more. So do give us a follow on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the bell for notifications so you never miss a show. And of course, this podcast is now part of the Sports Social Podcast Network, the UK's first dedicated sports podcast network. And you can find this show, among others, at sportssocial.co.uk, including our little spanky website for the show. And Super Kev Unscripted, unique and different to all the other shows we do on the channel. In this series, we do not focus on one particular subject or just a guest's career. All the questions, the topics are set by the people, nothing off limits, no censors, and most importantly, no scripts. And joining me, returning like a legend through the seas, across the world via satellite, it is none other than former Scotland international, ex-Aberdeen, Bolton and Cardiff City defender, Super Kevin McNaughton. Welcome back, my friend. But first of all, I have one question and one question only for you, my friend. And that is it coming home?
is it? Fuck.
And see, if we were live now in front of an audience, the room would have erupted. People would have been stamping. It would have been incredible.
Coming home.
That's it, mate. That's it.
It's not coming him. It's not coming him.
Coming him.
I'm good, mate. I'm very well. Just had the little break, recharged the batteries, and we're ready to go again. We're ready to rumble.
Yes, indeed.
We're going to do it the old Navy way, mate. First one to die loses.
Okay, there we go. I'm pretty sure that you've got a slight advantage on me, seeing as I'm literally falling apart as it is.
Falling apart, it seems, mate. I'm the same, mate.
Being held together by coffee and nicotine, mate.
I'm being held together by plasticine, mate. The years of running up and down. Plasticine and cider, yeah, that's a potent mixture. But my hips are in bits, mate.
Hips are in bits.
Shakira.
If ever I heard it.
I'm like the opposite scale of Shakira.
That's the new T-shirt. Super Kev Unscripted. Hips are in bits.
The hips don't lie, mate, and they're in
Indeed.
bits.
Donna Perry says you need to sort the live shows outside. I do have some news on that, which I cannot discuss at the moment, but I do need to discuss it with Kevin after the show, just to tease the people, as it were, But for any new people to the show, this is not a structured show full of top level interviewing. This is 1 hour of just random talking of whatever comes up, whatever comes into our minds.
Random guff.
Yeah, particularly if we find it funny, we're even more likely to talk about it. But
have we got any guys in the chat? What's the chat feeling? Have we got our old friend?
Rob Boyle.
We've got our old friend in there,
name.
surely.
Sure, I just saw his name. There's a few people. Wait, I'm sure I just saw his name. Maybe I didn't. Oh, there he is. Rob Boyle. Get in. He's got to get in his box.
There he is.
Get him in his box. But yes, mate. So you enjoyed your break then? Your little.
Just had a little sabbatical,
break.
guys. Just had a little sabbatical. We're travelling the globe, trying to
Pop
catch Corona. Yeah, probably should have done that.
Got a backpack on.
That's what I did. To be fair, I went camping, North Wales. Beautiful part of the world. A place I can't even remember the name of it. It was that good.
That's all the best places cannot be remembered.
It was called
Clankfire, Port Gwynedd, Golgeredd, Fantasy, Go. Talaraki.
It's next to Falaraki.
Yeah, it's the Welsh.
It's the Welsh Falaraki.
Yeah, it's twinned with Falaraki. Excellent, I like it. As soon as we said like we were taking a break from this show, and literally like bombarded with messages and just like comments on every show, every video, every post. When's Kev coming back? When's Super Kev Unscripted coming back? It's a very popular show, mate. People like it. Yeah, he's back
with a bang, with a can of
and he's badder
cider.
than ever. That's it, mate.
A can of Old Malt.
No more gin.
I was about to say our new official sponsor.
See, yeah, it moved on from gin series. That was series 1. Last year.
Come on, guys, move on with the times. Into the cider now. We're in the summer. We're into the summer months now. Enjoy your cider.
So, what did you think of the Euros, mate?
The Euros
you were going to pop in, weren't you, for one of the shows towards the end of the Euros, but it just didn't.
That's when I was. To be fair, I was working, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance. But it was good. I enjoyed the tournament. It was good to have Scotland there. We were there just
briefly,
make up the numbers, but it was fine.
We
still enjoyed ourselves.
So
I know there was a few stinkers in there as well, but
Turkey were bad.
We certainly. Oh yeah. Why didn't we get lucky and get Turkey in our group?
Yeah, well, I gotta say,
why didn't we get lucky like that?
And Andy brought this up on one of the shows. Actually, it was either Andy or it might have been Rodri. Said that would Scottish fans be frustrated that they played as well as they did against England, but then didn't really play that well in the first game. And
England are shite. So realistically, we should have humped them. No, I thought we were pretty poor that day. To be honest with you, should have won 2 or 3. And we let ourselves down in the other 2 games.
Yeah, I thought.
Saying that Croatia were a very good team.
Croatia are good. I thought
first game you got.
Didn't take your chances.
Yeah, it was just real.
But
deflating that was a wee bit.
Yeah, I do think Scotland are where Wales were about pre Gary Speed, where they've got 1 or 2 absolute quality players, and then they've got a lot of
I just think we've not got any world-class players. I think that's different. I think Wales are different because they've got a couple of world-class players.
Yeah,
and then they've got a decent squad. I think Wales they've got a decent squad, and then they've got 1 or 2 world-class players. Whereas Scotland, I think, have got a decent squad and a couple of guys who are teetering on being decent.
Yeah, it's difficult, though, isn't it? Because you need those 1 or 2, and I like Wales takes so much criticism, like we should be sorry that Gareth Bale's Welsh or something, or Aaron Ramsey's Welsh or whatever. But it's like every team has got those standout players. It's just
The thing is, most of the best teams in the world have 5, well, probably about 7 or 8 of them boys.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I enjoyed the Euros. I got to say, I was hoping Scotland were going to get through, like Wales, just to the first round of knockouts.
Just for the banter, mate.
Yes, that's it, mate. It was good fun. It was a good crack. But we had a good time nonetheless.
I enjoyed the tournament. A lot of good games. Quite enjoyed a few of the games.
It was good, mate. It was good. Were you cheering on England in the final?
Oh yes, it's coming him.
Coming him. Were you in tears, mate? I guess when England lost the final.
Of laughter, yes. Was enjoyable. I can't like nah. I don't. My daughter's English. Yeah, my daughter is English. She was like, "Oh, I want England to win."
Daddy.
You said,
Daddy, England are going to win the World Cup.
Daddy, England going to win the World Cup. You better not start speaking like that ever again.
Get back to Glasgow.
Give you a Glasgow kiss.
I thought I thought they were all right. I don't like this thing about the penalties, and obviously the abuse which follows. I just think it reflects really badly on the world generally, and so particularly Twitter, but Instagram as well. But it's just full of dicks, and that's a big problem for me. That's because
the problem, mate. There's a lot of dicks in the world.
Got to win together, and what frustrates me is those same people who were racially abusing. I've forgotten the guy's name who plays for Arsenal, but Rashford and Sancho, Sacco, those same people who were racially abusing them, and even the people who weren't racially abusing them, but were just abusing them because they missed penalties. If they'd scored those penalties, they'd have been kissing their ass, telling them they're the greatest. Oh, you've made my life, blah, blah, blah. And that's what frustrates me. Apart from the obvious, the racism and that, but it's just fickle, mate. Fickle dickheads, I think is probably the easiest way to say it.
Unfortunately, social media gives people like that a platform to speak. So
yeah,
that's why
my motto is, mate, never give knobheads a platform to speak.
No, exactly.
But there we go.
Well, so I'll hold my hand up as well there. Sorry. Hi.
We created our own platform to speak. No one gives us one. We have to create our own little corner to have a ramble.
Talk pish.
Yeah, so I think Scotland will qualify for the World Cup, mate.
I'd hope so, but you just never know. Scotland, man. We always let ourselves down at some point. So,
my favourite
normally
part,
before.
Sorry, go on, mate.
Normally before the tournament, but we made it to last. If we can make it, that's us. That's a victory for us. If we get to a tournament, that's a victory.
I would still like a World Cup or a Euros where Wales, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, we're all there. I just think that would be phenomenal, particularly without COVID regulations and stuff.
Without England as well.
Yeah, well, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
That'd be someone else. Can you imagine that? And I had to actually talk about a team other than England on the BBC. Could you imagine that?
Oh, mate, I gotta say,
the shows would be 5 minutes. They'd be like, "Oh yes, Wales are playing," then that goes straight to the game.
In the defence of not in the defence of the BBC, because I thought the BBC's coverage was absolutely shocking. But what they did is, and I think they tried something new, is that when Wales played, you had BBC Wales and you had Gabby Yoreth, Ashley Williams, Robbie Savage, and Mark Hughes. It was all a Welsh panel, and they were all very biased for Wales. But and I'm assuming they did the same for BBC Scotland, and obviously England was throughout the tournament.
Jimmy Cranky.
But Jimmy Cranky was in.
Jimmy Cranky was on. Billy Connolly was on.
Excellent. All the big names.
I think who else was on?
Frankie Boyle.
Frankie Boyle came on for a wee
presenting.
bit. He was presenting.
But he had to be dragged off. The problem is, I think I could see what they were trying to do, because there's been complaints previously, hasn't there, about it being a bit too
they're just kind of
almost like the England and the UK thing. But also, I think in a tournament like that, people want to hear about the other team. They want to hear about the team they're playing against.
They do.
So, like when Wales were playing Turkey, I want to know who Turkey's danger men are and what how were they in qualification and stuff like that. And they just spend like 30 seconds on it, and it's just.
That's what I say. It would take a good 10 seconds to highlight Turkey's danger men.
Well, but you know what I mean, don't you? Like, and like if Portugal are playing in that group of death, Portugal are playing Germany, and you're like, what a game! What two historical juggernauts of international football. One of them's the champions of Europe already, and they've got the best player in the world, or one of the best players in the world. And then at halftime, they're talking about the England game, which is on in 2 days, and I'm like, no,
it's coming here.
Like, it's so frustrating, and I thought that was really poor because, like, if you're watching Portugal versus Germany, you
just want to enjoy the festivities, mate, don't you? Just want to see goals. You want to just hear about Ronaldo, how many sit-ups he's done with his son in the gym this morning.
Well, I'd rather hear that,
like
mate, than repeat
that.
the same video interviews that they've been repeating on because it's on every day. You have the same interviews all the time. I just thought it was a bit poor. But in what I was saying is, in defence of the BBC. Yes, of course, as like in the final, it was unbearable watching BBC because it was like so pro England during the game. That's a problem for me.
I'd put it on thinking the game was an hour earlier because the actual show started 2 hours before the game. I switched on. I was thinking to myself, hurry up for this game to kick off. I thought it was genuinely sitting there for an hour, and then I realised there was another hour to the actual game. I was like, oh my God, I've got to listen to these guys talk pish. It's horrific.
Commentators, mate. See, I understand it from Ian Wright or Rio Ferdinand. I understand it from them.
And I wouldn't mind it if they won. It's just the fact that we need to listen to it constantly all the time.
But like, if I'm watching international football and England are playing in a semi-final or a final, I'm expecting Ian Wright as a pundit or Rio Ferdinand as a pundit or Alan Shearer. They're going to be a bit like skew-effed towards England. I get that.
Yep.
But when I'm watching the commentary, I expect Sam Matface or whoever who's commentating on that game telling me what's going on in the game. They've got to be like down the middle. They have to be. Otherwise, it's bullshit, mate. That annoyed me a lot, I got to say.
I don't really see when it's World Cup. I don't relax until England are knocked out.
God, you must have been stressed all the way through the Euros.
Well, the Euros, like, I try to play the Euros down a little bit more. The World Cup, imagine that.
It's like the Europa League, isn't it?
Oh my God!
Second rate, doesn't matter.
Could you imagine they got to the World Cup final? Jeez, man.
I think England got a good chance. Unfortunately, it is what it is, though, mate.
No, I swear, as soon as they go out, mate, I'm like that.
You can breathe for another 4 years. What are we going to do when it's every 2 years? Like now,
I'm going to relax and enjoy the tournament now, and just enjoy it.
Donna Perry says, "Are you watching the Olympics?"
I am at this moment in time, no, because we're doing a show, but I have watched them.
So what do you make? We mentioned about arseholes and platforms. What do you make of Piers Morgan? So you had she a gymnast, I believe she is, Simone Biles. She's a previous gold medal winner. She pulled out of Thursday's final for one of the events she was in, and she cited mental health issues, anxiety, and it was basically, it sounds like it was getting to her a bit. And Piers Morgan absolutely went to town on her and said, basically, one of the tweets was, mental health issues now the go-to excuse for any poor performance in elite sport. What a joke. Just admit you did badly, you made mistakes, and you'll strive to do better next time. Kids need stronger role models, not this nonsense. What do you make of that? Because for me, one of the frustrating things that I find, just very quickly before I get your take on it, is unfortunately over the past, probably 10 years, there's been several high-profile footballers or sports people or famous people who've taken their own lives. Of course, it's tragic and it's sad. And you get these people like Piers Morgan who will come out and say, we must do more to support these people, be nicer on social media, etc., etc. And then a week later, those same people who've said that will be calling some stranger all the names under the sun, and Piers Morgan's being, hounding Meghan Markle or whatever. It's just very all hypocritical. But like, I don't know, where do you stand on it all, mate?
I've never listened to assholes, mate. So, like, that's just what you've just sort of pointed out. If you rise to the sort of asshole, mate, I don't listen to assholes like him because I just put him where he is on the scale of 0 to asshole, and he's actually off the scale, mate. He's actually probably 11 out of 10 on the scale of arsehole. So you just didn't. I don't pay attention to what Piers Morgan says. So I won't wake up tomorrow and think, I wonder what Piers is thinking about this today.
But I mean, you've been, you've played Premier League.
I think the fact we are talking about him, mate, is giving him a bit of satisfaction.
Yeah, probably.
I think he wants. Yeah, I think he enjoys it, mate.
He enjoys the attention.
He enjoys the attention.
Negative or positive.
You know what? He might hear a book coming out or a TV show coming out. You know what? I'll go and say something, or I'll go and be a cunt to somebody. I'll go and be a cunt for a day, and any publicity is good publicity for these pricks, mate.
Yeah. So like, you've been a footballer. You've been a footballer, obviously, but you've been like a Premier League footballer, an international footballer. You've been in the limelight and in criticised in the papers, on TV or whatever, positive, negative. Like, how difficult is it to avoid if people are giving you a bit of grief on social media or whatever? Like, how difficult is it to avoid it if you're someone who uses social media fairly regularly?
Well, like when I was younger, it bothered me. Yeah, it proper bothered me when I was younger. But I think as I got older, just become a bit thick-skinned to this sort of stuff. But definitely, that's why I sort of fear. I think younger players should be educated in how to deal with things like that, because certainly when I was younger, you just had to get on with it. You just had to deal, even criticism from the press. And I'm talking, like, I was the age of 19 and I was getting hounded at one point because, like, I was quite an anxious.
A wee shagger.
That was like quite an anxious person as a kid. So when I was in changing rooms, I was really quiet, and when I went into the Scotland setup, I was really, really quiet. I remember having a poor training session, and I think because of I wouldn't say nervous, I was like an anxious kid. I was always like that. When I got on the pitch, it was usually good. But never ever shown any sort of anxiety when I was on the pitch. But I remember getting hounded by one of the managers saying I was too nervous to start the game and stuff like that. That was off the back of one training session, right? And then the press jumped on it. And so you're talking about a 19-year-old boy who's just been in the Scotland setup for the first time in his life, getting hounded by the press and things like that. Like, I must admit, I struggled with that for a wee bit. I didn't really know what was going on. I felt like a bit of had one bad training session, and all of a sudden, I'm being hounded.
You didn't know how to deal with it at all, and I think, the thing is, you look at
I swear, it took me about 3 or 4 months before I got back playing properly.
Yeah, thing is, mate, right? Is back when, you're off. I think me and you are of similar age. It's like back when we were younger, 18, 19, even not involved in professional sport. Like, if you were struggling, it was kind of like, get on with it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was no support. There was no.
It was just man up.
Trying to get to what's going on, what's bothering you, what's causing the issue. It was, come on, get on with it. And I think for these, you look at some of the stuff which had, like Raheem Sterling, for instance, for a few years when he was young, like a young 18, 19, 20, there was in newspapers all across the UK on a daily basis these stories about, and often from unnamed sources, about how he had 8 kids from all these different women, really playing up stereotypes and stuff, and he had all these different children from different women, and he's got this house and he's got this car and he's got this and he's got that. And then as time went on and he became a bit more open as he got a bit older and did more media, it turned out that none of it was true. He was actually, yeah, of course he's got a big house and he's got a decent car and all that, but he actually was quite like a reserved character, and you know, he was in a long-term relationship, and it was just all bullshit. And like, say he wasn't as mentally tough. My point being is, if he wasn't as mentally tough as he has turned out to be, that could have taken all sorts of turns on his life, whether it was a mental health aspect of it, or whether it was just a thing of he was in a long-term relationship, but because his partner sees in the papers that he's a shagger and he's got all these kids, does she then, you know, does that cause, whether she ends the relationship, but it's like in her head, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, is he, you know, is he hiding that from me? Is he lying? And like, I'm using him as an example, but there's, you know,
it's hard, like
millions of them in the UK press and what they've done to people. But
there's people who like to remain, there's footballers who like to remain private. There's footballers who use it, the social media, for their advantage with either advertisement or things like that.
Oh,
and that's,
you just
some people seem to think that makes it an excuse for them to their private life suddenly to be opened up, and because they use social media. It doesn't, I mean, if that happens to you, it doesn't mean anything. So just think, newspapers. Newspapers are trying to sell newspapers.
Yeah.
So they will look and dig out as much as they can on people.
Of course they will. There was a person recently who said to me, so all my social medias are open, and I got the podcast pages and stuff. The only one I keep private is my Facebook profile is private because it's got pictures of my kids on.
Yeah.
So not realizing how much the channel was going to quite grow, and I was going to, you know, it's not by any means massive, but there's people watching. So I didn't want just, you know, random people being able to just look at pictures of my kids and stuff, and where I live and all, you know, all stuff like that. So someone told me that because I had a YouTube channel, and this is a semi-regular viewer as well, basically because I've got a YouTube channel and I put myself out there to do podcasts and talk and stuff, I should accept them as a friend on Facebook because I hadn't, and two, I should open my Facebook profile regardless of what. If I don't want people to see pictures of my kids, I shouldn't put them on there. And I was like, just because I do a podcast or I got a YouTube channel or whatever, you know, doesn't mean that suddenly opens up the rest of my life away from podcasts for people to comment on or to look at. It's a weird thing, mate. And like, I'm talking on a very small scale, you know, me, but just as an example. But like, going back to the UK media, mate, there's been countless examples of them stitching footballers up and being complete twats to them, you know, ruining relationships, whether it's friendships or you know, relationships. It's horrendous, mate. It really is. And look at Wayne Rooney, mate. Like literally over the weekend, went for some beers in China Whites after he managed Derby to a loss against Salford. Invited some girls over because they were on their birthday or whatever. Him and his friends with them went back to the to the hotel room. He fell asleep. They took a load of photos next to him while he's asleep. By the next morning, because it's gone viral on social media, he's all over the newspapers. What's his missus going to think of that? Now, of course, should he make better decisions and do things different? Maybe. But he should also be, if he wants to go and have a few beers, he should be able to do that without fear of being stitched up a little bit. Exactly. And like, he's under tremendous pressure for his job at Derby now. And I think before this, they were probably going to give him, you know, at the very least this season, to bring in his own players and try and give it. And like, I think he's under a lot of pressure now, and I think he might lose his job because of that. It's a weird one. And like Donna said there, bless Colleen, she's been through the ringer because of media. You and she's got that thing with Jamie Vardy's wife, and I'm not a big fan of media, mate. Fuck them.
Yes. I didn't really pay much attention to it, mate.
Was there any media? Have you ever had like a journalist who particularly rubs you up the wrong way, like a local journalist?
Oh, loads, mate.
Somebody
Loads.
pisses you
Hundreds
off.
and thousands of them.
Is there any up way? Any of Cardiff way? Which
wasn't too bad.
They were all.
The thing is,
right?
the good down south, because everything was recorded. The club recorded everything, so you couldn't get away with writing anything that wasn't true. But what you used to find after the games at Aberdeen, especially, you would come out of the stadium into a sort of tunnel environment, and they would just snare you, speak to you for 5 minutes, and then you would go out, and then because it wasn't recorded or anything, there was no sort of. It was all that shorthand that they used to do, like So it was just. I remember reading a few things, and there was all sorts of shit. I was like, I don't
just like adding little comments and stuff that you hadn't said.
I wouldn't have stuff that I would never have said in my life.
That's naughty, innit? And I think,
but I was only about 17 or 18. So what was I meant to do about it?
Yeah, of course. And a prime. This is what you reminded me of. Actually, was about just because people use social media. So there was a news story over this past weekend now about Marcus Rashford. And the news story was running. I think it was in a couple of papers, and they were saying how Marcus Rashford has benefited commercially in the last 18 months through all his charity work. And this journalist, and I used journalist in quotations because I think he's a massive twat and he should have done his research. So he was slating Rashford for basically trying to paint this picture of he's used the school dinner thing to improve his own financial status and his commercially. He's got all sponsorships from it and whatever. Well, which of course he has. Of course, and why wouldn't he? But listen to this though. Yeah, of course it's not. But listen to this. However, and if this journalist had done his research, if you go to the Sunday Times givers list, which is like celebrities and footballers who gives the most to charity, Marcus Rashford has donated over £20 million to charity in the last 18, and that's a same 18-month period, and that equates to 125% of his wealth earned in that time. So, of course, they earned ridiculous amount of money, but he's given away as much as he's earned according to that list in the last 18 months. But this journalist was so focused on trying to get like a stitch-up job and make out like he was not what he was pertaining to be or whatever it may be. Do you see what I mean?
Yep. A-hole, mate.
Yeah,
he's up there. He's up there with Piers Morgan.
Yeah. And Reese has made a massive, a good point there. He says, I remember when journalism was about uncovering dark stories, going undercover, exposing gangs or corruption and stuff like that. Now, it's almost like an extension of social media, which is used to attack people who are famous or make them successful.
Come on, it's bitty stories, mate. I just like stuff you would see in the sport, the Daily Sport, mate. Stories you would see in the Daily Sport years back.
Yeah, I do remember some of them were just incredible.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what that's become the norm now.
Yeah, it's wrong, mate. It's
not that I read Daily Sport or anything like that.
No, of course not. Absolutely not. Never read.
Why would I read such?
Sometimes when I was hungover, my mum would go, "Do you want anything from Tesco's?" Sunday morning, I would purposely ask her to get me the Daily Sport.
Oh yeah,
just for a laugh, like. And she'd come back and she'd be like, "I will not buy that again, Simon. Why have you asked me to get that newspaper?" I was like, "It's the sport."
But not doing it. But not
like sports. But yeah, I was hungover, so I had a dark sense of humor at that time. So in the last portion of the show, we're going to name our. We're not going to do a top 10 list today or a in the bin for the first two episodes of Series 2. We're going to do tonight is the all-time Scottish 11, including a manager, which the manager's pretty obvious, but Bertie Vogts, isn't it?
Oh, Bertie McVogts.
Bertie McVogts. And then next week or next episode, we're going to do the all-time Welsh 11, and then for the final few episodes of the series, then we will go back to alternating between top 10 lists and in the bin. But Kevin McNaughton, would you like to do a couple of would you rathers to kick off?
Oh yes, let's get
Series
involved.
2?
Come on,
Okay, let's have a look what we got.
let's do this.
Let's bring them up. Oh, that's a bit boring. I don't want none of that. Like
Oh, don't wanna
easy. Would you rather
Oh.
visit New York or New Jersey? I mean, that's ridiculous.
New Jersey every time.
Don't think we want to go quite that dark either. But would you rather have a colonoscopy
What's that?
or colonoscopy is the firm camera up the backside to look at the intestines. So would you rather have that one? So it's not the flexy one, which glides.
Speaking from experience, yeah.
I mean, it's the firm,
The glider, as you call it.
It's not the gliding flexy one, which just gently moves around the intestine.
Ah, yeah.
It's the firm, long pipe.
That's the normal weekend for you, the old glider. Isn't it?
Well, yeah, the glider. It's the Friday nights. Or you can have one. It's a very small, like a pinhole camera, which goes down the. I believe it's pronounced urethra.
Urethra.
Yeah, down the old Johnson.
Oh.
Which one would you rather?
That's a disgusting question, but
it is. It's probably come from JD in the old United States of America. I think
it's got to be the bum man.
Which one would you rather? It's got to be, isn't it?
You can't be putting down the old William.
So,
have you ever heard that story about the fish that goes in there?
Yeah, when you have a wee in the Amazon
back.
rainforest, isn't it?
That's why I never go there on holiday. I never ever go to the Amazon.
Yeah.
See what I'm like reading? That's the reason.
That's why you went to the Welsh Falaraki, mate, wasn't it?
That's where I went to Talaraki, the Welsh Falaraki, because I do not dare go near the Amazon because of this. The fish up the penis.
Oh, mate, it's brutal. And I saw a video on like YouTube or Facebook yesterday, which had like top 10 worst animals or something, and those fish were in it.
Tell me, they were up there.
And what they do is it's not that they necessarily go up there. What they
just
do,
find the cozy up there.
They swim up the wall like as you're having a slash, and then they go up and they go into your bladder, and then they die, and then that causes an infection, and your bladder kind of dies from the inside out. And
why did they go
one of the only ways to stop death once you've got it, or once the infection has started, is to chop off the old Johnson & Johnson. This is what this video said. Like, it could be, but I think.
But why did he go up there? Is there a reason? Did he go up there to die?
Because it's a stream of waters, because the water's warm, I believe.
Would they go up there to die?
Well, yeah, but they just die once they get there. Like,
right, they just.
Yeah, they die.
I've made an error.
You've made a terrible mistake.
I've made a terrible mistake. Now I have to just die, and someone's.
I don't think they got there necessarily. I don't think it's like when a bee stings you, and they sting you, and then they know they're going to die.
Yeah,
with the fish, they swim up the old
and
the eye,
no.
And then the old Johnson & Johnson, and then
I heard this happened to Tony the other day. Somebody's bulb.
Mate.
Nightmare. That's me done.
So what I can say is when I've had operation on my back and I had operation on my stomach and all these different things where I was going to be immobile for like weeks, I had to have a catheter, and that, even when I was off my nut on painkillers, was the most excruciating, painful, unpleasant, undignified, just traumatizing thing that I could possibly. I thought
you were about to say exciting, mate, the way you were building up.
Mate,
one of the most
this is not my bag. No, not my bag at all. And that's why I will take the arse pipe every time.
Arse pipe.
Every single time, mate.
You love a good arse pipe.
Oh, mate, I'd rather that. In fact, I can't. Don't want.
Nah, I must admit, I'm taking that. Take one for the team.
Too much to go down the Johnson.
Yeah,
Johnson
that's not a pleasant one.
Craig Sullivan says, "Would you rather football came home, or would you rather it was never able to come home? But if England, if if it never comes home for England ever, it will also mean that Scotland can never qualify for another tournament again. I'm just added to that a little bit.
Sorry,
So
what the
basically,
hell was that?
would you rather
England never win the World Cup, Scotland never get to the
win the World Cup or the Euros, but Scotland can do whatever they do, or England will never win the Euros or the World Cup ever, but Scotland will never qualify for another tournament.
Never qualify. That's a bit harsh. Qualify.
Well, that's why it's got to make it difficult, haven't you? Got to make it difficult.
Let's be honest. Scotland and see if you'd have said Scotland winning the World Cup, I would have laughed at you. I would have went,
because that's not going to happen, is it? As I think it was Holgate that said, Scotland are like the San Marino of the home nations, aren't they? That's not my words. That's Holgate that said. That. He is an Englishman.
Going through a little purple patch areas. Couple of players, do you? They'll soon be retired, my friend.
Right. Craig clarified. He said, for clarification, so he said, England, would you rather it comes home or is never able to come home, but you're never able to go back to Scotland if England never win a major tournament? So basically, you'd be booted out of Scotland, but England would never win a trophy. But you'd never be able to get back into your home country.
Why? This is just one of the most random. So I'm not.
I think they're trying to test how much.
I'm not allowed to go home.
Yeah, England never bring it home, and you never get to go home. So you'd have to move back to Cardiff, I guess.
That's fine. I'll deal with that.
Yeah, we can deal with that, mate. We'll film this in a studio.
That's what Skype's for. That's what Skype's for, guys.
Yeah. So all we do is we'd film this in a studio, and then you'd have to Skype your family and stuff.
Yeah, it's quite
switch
easy.
it around a bit. It's easy peasy. Would you rather keep wasting time answering these stupid questions, or do something which would change your life, but you don't know whether it's for the better or worse?
Well, there could be swimming with them fishes, could it?
Mm.
That's what could be. So, no, I'd rather just keep talking pish.
For £10 million, would you swim in like a little pond
full of them fishes?
For full of those fishes, you've got to swim in it for 2 minutes without getting out. But if you do it, you get £10 million. Would you do that?
Yeah.
You'd risk it.
I'd risk it for a biscuit.
Just get some sellotape out.
Mate, I'd use mine.
But they're saying that, don't they only swim up if you have a wee, innit?
Mate, mine is that long. I'd use it like as a snorkel, like just put it up there and I'd be under the water.
Where you can breathe.
Safe as houses. Unless they can jump like dolphins, mate. Can't they jump like dolphins?
Probably. Well, I would imagine they can jump. Well, they can jump.
Obviously jumping in. I'd jump in like this, and then I would just hold it up like that, because obviously it's that long. And then I'd be under the water. Unless they're like dolphins, mate. Unless it's like swimming. Unless we're going to SeaWorld, and there's a couple of trainers with them guys just going in. They've trained them to jump into the penile from above.
The penile. So, Wales Online headline tomorrow, Kevin McNaughton is carrying around a weapon that only dolphins can control.
Listen. This is going in a different direction, isn't it?
This is going on.
I did not think we were talking about penises and fish crawling up them today.
Yeah, this is not what I was expected, but that's the beauty of Kevin McNaughton Unscripted, mate, is we never know what is going to come up. Celtic are losing in the Champions League. Surely not again. Not in the qualifying stage again.
Yeah, probably.
Can't be possible, mate. Can it? Could they do it again? Did they go out last year in the qualifying stage?
They love it, mate. They just love it. You do it for banter, eh?
Are they playing someone good? Or is it some
Danish team, man.
Rubbish, mate. Rubbish.
Yeah.
Would you rather be a pop singer or an actor? Donna says.
Oh, actor.
Donna's keeping it clean.
100% actor.
Tom Hardy was at Barry Island over the weekend.
Was he?
He was, yeah. He came to see me. I filmed a secret podcast with him.
Did you?
Yeah.
How's he getting on? He's asking
Yeah,
for us.
he said he'll come and do a regular show if I binned off Super Kev Unscripted forever. I said no. I said,
No, you wouldn't do that.
Tom, you're having a laugh, mate.
You asked him.
Kevin McNaughton is the glue that holds Ace
said-
Podcast Nation together.
You speak about that. If you speak about Kev like that again, you'll go swimming in this big fish tank I've got in the back. So.
Yeah, he said you'll be doing 2 minutes, £10 million.
Couple of minutes in there, mate.
He's filming Havoc, I believe it's called.
In Barry Island.
No, I hope not.
That sounds appropriate.
Well, Barry Island, what a place. I'm more a fan of Southern Down Beach myself. FC Midtjylland, and it's 2-1 in extra time. So,
Bon voyage to Celts.
Rob Lay he's got a joke about a Scotsman. He says, "How can you tell if a Scotsman comes from the McDonald's clan?"
Something to do with Big Macs or something, eh?
I don't know. He hasn't said the answer yet, so we'll have to wait for him to catch up. Come on, Rob. If you're going to tell the joke, you've got to tell the punchline as well.
It comes from the McDonald's clan. It's got to be something daft about chicken nuggets or something like that.
Yeah. He said if you lift up his kilt, he's got a full quarter pounder. He's from the McDonald's clan. I knew it.
Read it a mile away.
And would someone? Rob Boyle, the man in the box, says, "Would you rather Swansea win the Champions League or England win the World Cup?"
Oh, that's a toughie.
Shoot myself in the head.
Oh, I think it. So, can we get some fish questions again?
Yeah, can we go back to talking about flexi glide?
But it's like one of them is possible. The other one is just total nonsense. Yeah. And I think you
comment on which one.
Well,
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
One of them has happened. The other one is pure fabrication of the mind.
The way Swansea are going, in big problems. They are. Signed Joe Hart apparently, so that's a big red flag for me, if anything.
Poppadomus.
James Costley says Celtic or Rangers, Kev.
I'm Dundee fan, so I'd say because I played with Celtic boys as a kid, I'd say Celtic more than Rangers. But to be honest with you, I don't really care.
Fair enough. Holgate that says, Kev, do you think Celtic and Rangers A and B teams should be added to make it a 4-team league? I think he's referring to the Scottish Premier League. So he's basically saying, do you think Celtic and Rangers should have their reserve teams be in the Scottish league system?
Nah.
I don't even think they'd have a good enough team.
Nah, they wouldn't have a good enough team to do that anyway. They'd probably they'd be languishing around maybe.
I think there's a good chance this year, mate, that Celtic don't finish in the top 2 in the Scottish Premier League.
Oh, do you fancy them not to?
They do. Because I think Rangers have got a very good team.
Who's finishing second? Who's finishing second?
Well, Aberdeen are a good footballing side.
Nah.
Who else you got? Who else is there? St. Johnstone.
No, St. Johnstone, no.
No, Motherwell?
No. Hibs are not bad.
Hibernian. Hibernian.
No, that's... Fancy Rangers again, but
you never
know. Celtic will be no bad.
I just don't think Celtic have...
Nah, they'll be all right. They'll come all right. They need to sign... I still think they need some bodies.
Yeah, the fans and our fan are not. They're not loving the manager so far, but
give him time, man.
Rob Boyle from his box says Hearts. Donna says Hearts. Rob Boyle from his box says, "Have you been happy with Aberdeen's transfer window?"
Not particular.
No, particularly.
Not particularly.
Is Alan Hansen the greatest Scottish pundit of all time?
No, Super Ali McCoy's decent.
He is superb. But he's not dour enough.
Dour enough. Nah, Hansen is dour-y.
Yeah, I used to love Alan Hunt. Thought he was a great pundit.
Yeah, he was decent.
I liked the fact that he was miserable as fuck. Basically,
Yeah, he was decent.
that made it for me. Right, Scotland all-time 11. We're going to start with let's discuss some all-time great Scottish managers. The caveat is they do not have to have been manager of the Scottish national team. The qualification to be selected for this position is they either have to have been Scottish national team manager or they have to be Scottish. So
just have to be Scottish.
Yeah.
Well, there's only going to be one winner, isn't there?
So Bertie Vokes.
So why are we wasting our time?
Who would your selection
wasting
be?
our time?
Scotland's best manager.
Scotland's best manager is obviously Alex.
Got to be Fergie, hasn't it? Got to be Fergie. Anyone who comes close to him in terms for you, if you were picking your
you've got like
Scottish
you've got
11.
Jock Stein,
Alex McLeish, Craig Brown, Jock Stein, Kenny Dalglish,
yeah.
Walter Smith,
yeah.
Was Gordon Strachan, Malky Mackay, got to be up there, isn't he? Malky.
Oh, Malcolm.
Anyone else? Tommy Burns.
Tommy Burns.
I think to me, Fergie is obviously the clear winner, but then probably just under that you've got maybe Craig Brown, Kenny Dalglish, Jock Stein, Walter Smith, maybe.
Yes.
What about Sir Matt Busby? Was Scottish, was he?
Sir Matt Busby.
Was he Scottish? We'd have to check that. Why not?
I can't remember. That sounds quite bad.
I'm sure
he did sound a bit Scottish. No, I don't think he is.
Someone from that era of United was Scottish. Yeah, he was a Scottish football manager and player. See,
was he?
I know my shit.
The Busmeister.
He was born in Orbiston, Bells Hill.
Was he?
Yes. So
that's bad that I don't know that.
Yeah, it is a bit, and that I do.
It's pretty crappy.
Rob Boyle says got to be Jock Stein. Donna Perry says Tommy Docherty.
Tommy Docherty.
Tommy Docherty. It's Fergie, innit? Let's see.
It's just right.
So Fergie's the manager. Scottish goalkeepers all time. I mean, you got
right. What are you thinking?
Craig Gordon. Andy Gorham.
Get out here.
Jim Leighton.
Craig Gordon.
Jim Leighton is the greatest.
Did you just say Craig Gordon? We'll go back to that. Craig Gordon, the greatest goalkeeper in Scottish history.
In my opinion, the greatest Scottish goalkeeper in history is Neil Alexander, but David Marshall would be up there too.
Oh, Dave the Save would be up there.
Alan McGregor, Jim Leighton,
James Leighton. There you go. You've got two. There's two you can choose from. And there's another one you can choose from. You've got to guess who it is.
Tommy Younger.
Tommy Younger? No.
Alan Ruff.
No.
Lee Alexander.
You said his name, but...
did I? Craig Gordon, Andy Gorham.
That's the one.
Good. Who would you pick? Who would you pick?
Jim Leighton.
Scottish best goalkeeper of all time?
I'd say Jim Leighton.
I'd go with Jim Leighton as well, probably. He had a few calamities in it, but what keepers haven't? But then I think Jim Leighton obviously is like the retro pick, isn't he? But then I do think Neil Alexander and Dave the Save are right up there.
Get to France. Neil
Dave
Alexander
Marshall,
is not anywhere near this list.
Okay, Dave Marshall, got to be up there.
Yes, Dave. I'd put Dave in the top 10.
Top 10, but not not like on the bench.
Neil Alexander is not in the top 50.
Oof, rough. So if Jim Leighton's your goalie, I'd put him in. He's in the team. Who is your goalkeeper on the bench?
Andy Gorham.
Andy Gorham, yeah?
Yep.
Not Dave Marshall, friend, cohort.
But it's not about friendship here.
Yeah.
It's not about picking friends here, mate.
See, that was a test. And you passed.
This is about picking the best Scottish 11. It's not about friends, mate. I can't just say Tony, my pal, who lives in the street, he's in goals, mate. because he's a good keeper at 5s. But I'm not going to do that because
Good.
that'd just be ludicrous, mate. I would just
like
make a
it, mate.
mockery of this show completely.
Indeed, we don't want that, mate.
We don't want that. This is a factual show. We're talking facts here.
It's a serious
Gimli,
show, mate. We don't mess about. It's not as if we come on here and piss about for an hour.
No.
We talk serious facts. So on the Scottish defenders front, obviously Scott McTominay would be the centre back, Captain America. He's a legend in his own right. Fantastic footballer. Is that right? So we got Richard Goff. I think he's got to be up there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Alan Hansen.
He's English, though, isn't he? He speaks English. Alan Hansen, yes. There you go.
Alan Hansen, I think, has got to be.
Yeah, he's won a few trophies. Trophies.
So in that case, if you count Richard Goff as like a bit English, what about Colin Hendry? Is he in the team?
He's up there. It's him or McQueen for me.
What about Morris Malpass?
Nah. Back pass. Morris back pass, we usually call him, because when the back pass rule disappeared, he couldn't. Yeah, that's it. He was finished.
Jackie McNamara?
No, come on, behave.
What about Alex McLeish?
Yeah, you could hazard. You could say maybe.
What about? So what are we doing? Centre backs? Andy Robertson,
McQueen.
Hansen and McQueen.
Yeah.
Gordon McQueen, Alan Hansen.
Yes, there you go.
And then are we saying is Andy Robertson the right back, best right back Scotland have ever seen?
Andy Robertson does not play right back, mate. There's one.
Where's he play then?
He plays left back.
All right. So who's your right back?
You've just
embarrassed myself, haven't I?
I know you have. Just that is horrendous.
Should be absolutely ashamed.
Danny McGrain plays right back, best right back, and actually, I'd go as far to say he's good enough to.
Danny McGrain.
He's good enough to make the world 11, mate.
Okay, Danny McGrain right back, Alan Hansen and Gordon McQueen centre backs, and then are we going? So you've got Gary Gillespie hasn't had a mention.
No, come on.
Craig
Tierney.
Levine.
I'm going to say Tierney. Left back. Kieran Tierney.
Kieran Tierney.
Just gone a wee bit modern there.
Is that the boy who plays for Arsenal, isn't it?
That's the lad.
He's not even on my list to add. It's just shocking.
But you're having a stinker with this,
Stuart Kennedy. It's the BBC's list.
If you just Googled this, you've Googled this.
There's like an app on the BBC website to name your
Scottish. What is it called? Shit, Scottish players.
Roy Aitken.
What? This is just random, mate. This is not
Arthur Albiston.
No. Think of a good
Kenny Burns.
centre midfielder. Scottish centre midfielder.
I'm trying to get Kieran Tierney in here, and he's not happening. He's not
Liverpool.
On the list.
Centre mid. Liverpool. Scottish centre mid.
Souness, I suppose, is it?
There you go.
Souness.
Leeds legend, centre midfield.
Billy Bremner, is it?
There you go.
Billy Bremner. What about Archie Gemmell, Gary McAllister?
Come on.
Gary McAllister's got to be in with a shout.
No. Mate.
Souness.
Bremner or McAllister.
So you'd have Souness in the middle.
Yes.
And
Bremner.
And Billy Bremner on the left. What about Darren Fletcher?
Don't. You need to stop this now.
Gary McAllister, David Moyes, Jim Baxter.
Did you say David Moyes?
I didn't. Craig Sullivan did.
Craig Sullivan?
Deserves
he deserves
a berating.
That's a block. That's an instant block.
Craig also said, wasn't Shankly a defender? He never saw him play.
Don't know.
Barry Ferguson.
No,
Archie
we've done
Gemmell,
our two centre mids. Our two centre mids are done. Souness and Bremner.
I've got us 4-3-3, mate. Come on. Kev's gone. So get some suggestions in. We'll get some in. We'll get some people in quick. We'll get David Moyes in there now. Get David Moyes. Someone's just probably phoned him. That's all. He'll be back. So we've got Souness and Bremner in the middle. Oof, who we got? Strachan? Nah, man. I wouldn't have Strachan in there. I'd have Guy McAllister in there, mate, I think. Probably ahead of Souness, because Souness is a massive bell end. But, you know, that's just me, I suppose. Innit? So, guys, yeah, quick. Oh, he is. He's back. The wee man's back. All right, man.
Don't know what happened there. Someone just...
Did someone try and phone you?
Bit funny there.
All right, a bit funny. So we got Graham Souness and Billy Bremner centre midfield. Left wing, you got
Robertson.
Which Robertson?
Andy.
Playing him out of position. It's rubbish.
Listen, he can do a job.
What about James McFadden?
Faddy, he's on the bench.
John Robertson. Bruce Rioch. Paul McStay.
Stop just shouting names. Give us something about them and don't Google it.
Lou Macari. Jimmy Johnston.
Yes. He's in my team.
Jimmy Johnston, where's he playing?
Yes. Right wing.
So we'll have Jimmy Johnston, right wing. Jimmy Johnston. What about Paul Lambert?
Bench.
Bench. Bobby Collins.
No. We're into the strikers now, mate. We've got a 4-4-2 playing here.
4-4-2.
Right. If you don't get the two strikers that I've got on this list, deserve punched.
Scotland have been blessed with the old. What about Stevie Nicol?
Mate, but you've been serious here. Two of the best Scottish strikers in the history of Scotland. They're pretty easy. This is the
but come on. It's loads. You've got Alan Brazil. You got Kenny Dalglish.
Right, there's one.
Robert Fleck. Mo Johnston. Dennis Law. Ali McCoist.
You've said that.
Frank McAvenny.
You got there.
Kenny Miller. Names. Kenny Miller, the man who can't score at Wembley.
You've got two. You've got the two of them.
So who would you want? Mo Johnston.
No.
Dennis Law.
Yes.
Dennis Law and who?
Dalglish.
See, someone, who was it? Donna Perry said should have Kenny Dalglish and Brian McClare up front. Rob Boyle says Big Duncan and McCoist up front. I got to say, Brian McClare is one of the most underrated. Yeah.
Dennis Law or Big Dunk, did somebody say?
Yeah. Someone that did. To me, I think... you've got like Graham Sharp. He's another one. Brian McClare is one of the most underrated footballers in the last 30 years. Which one are you laughing at? Right, Graham Sharp.
I'm trying to guess who you taking out then. Dalglish or Dennis Law?
Dalglish. Dalglish is shite. Always was. Overrated.
Really, really struggled, didn't he? To score goals.
He's rubbish. Scouts. Rubbish. So at the moment we've got a place at left wing because I refuse to put Robertson in there.
You're putting him in there, or
no, because this app will not allow it. So I have to play. He has to play at fullback. So you're gonna have to think of another winger for your team to enable me to proceed.
Oh, the boy Gray. What was the guy's name? Eddie Gray.
Eddie Gray. What about Don Cowie?
Nope.
There's no room for sentiment.
I told you.
What about Graham Leggett?
You Leggett.
Peter Lorimer?
No, I've told you. Eddie Gray.
James McFadden. Come on. James McFadden.
Right,
got to be in there.
There you go. I'll let you have one person in there.
Gary McAllister, mate. I'm surprised he's not in there.
Paddy. That's it.
Confirmed team. So the team is Jim Leighton, Andy Robertson, Alan Hansen, Gordon McQueen. I couldn't put Tierney in there because he wasn't on the list. So Weir's in at fullback. James McFadden, Graham Souness.
Oh, I'll put Robertson in at fullback.
I got him. So you have fullbacks of Robertson and Weir, and your centre backs are Hansen and McQueen. Danny McGrain. That's who you said, wasn't it? What's his first name? Danny McGrain.
He's one of the greatest full-backs of all time, never mind.
There we go. So you got him and Robertson at full-back, Hansen and McQueen in centre-backs. You got James McFadden on one wing, Jimmy Johnston on the other, Souness and Bremner in the midfield,
Yep.
Dennis Law and Kenny Dalglish up front. That is some team.
Oh, we would piss all over Wales with that team.
Well, we'll see next week when we pick Wales' all-time 11.
Oh, piss all over that team as well.
Nah, mate. I've got to just drop it into the Super Kev's all-time Scotland 11. And then it's going to Super Kev all-time Scotland 11. And then there's a little link for people to go and have a look. And then next week we'll pit them against each other, and we'll see which people think would win a game of football.
Oh, we would dick yous, man. We would actually get one of them gliders, mate.
Come on, mate. You've got a lot of average dross.
We would get one of them gliders and insert it where the sun don't shine.
Oh, come on, mate. You said there was no room for sentiment. You are like, Wales have got so many world-class players to choose from that they literally just don't know.
You've got two guys.
Oh, over the years, what about Craig Bellamy and Giggs and all these other people?
Bellers,
mate,
how many golden boots does Bellers win?
Right, he was a golden golden golf, wasn't he?
No, sorry.
What about Dean Saunders, Ian Rush, Mark Hughes?
How many Ballon d'Ors has Bellamy won?
Well, he was a supporting player to the other world-class players, isn't he? He was helping out the lesser players. Because what you've got to remember, Kev, is you've got Dean Saunders, Ian Rush, Mark Hughes. These are serial winners. The biggest European trophies in football.
Dennis Law.
Traitor, isn't he? He's got no team, like, he's got no
do you know what to do?
loyalty. No loyalty.
We should have a look at this, right? And see how many trophies right. Don't you start Googling who's got the most trophies and all right?
Just pick the players who've got the most trophies, is it?
Right. But I'm just saying.
And we'll compare who won the most European
trophies. If you
trophies.
look at this star-studded lineup, you will look and see, go, wow, they have won a hell of a lot of accolades over the years.
Okay. I've just I've tweeted out your all-time 11.
You look very nice.
Indeed, mate. Very, very good. I'm very sad to say, Kev, it might be because I announced it fairly late in the day on Monday. We haven't got a Dear Kev for this week, but hopefully that will change next week. Gary Speed, Ian Rush, John Charles, John Toshak, Gareth Bale might not even make the side, mate. There we go. There we go. Wales going to smash it.
Right. Gareth Bale and Ramsey. Who else have you got in your team? What other?
I just named you loads. In
Savage.
for what now? What
Savage.
no, Savage didn't get anywhere near it. Not even be on the bench, mate.
Sabo.
Neville Southall in goal.
Oh.
Big Nev.
Oh, Big Nev, eh?
What else we got?
He's got a few accolades, isn't he? 100. He won the fastest pie eating competition.
Oh, you can't slag off Big Nev. Absolute legend of a man. Not having that.
Accolades.
Not having that at all.
Accolades, mate.
But there's a few. Kevin Ratcliffe, of course. Be right up there. We'll have a look, mate. We'll have a look. Next week.
I cannot wait for my Scotia team to hose all over.
Yeah, you're gonna try and break it. You're gonna try and try and stitch it up and that's shocking. That is. So Scotland had their own feature on BBC in June, so where you could pick an all-time Scotland 11 from the top 50 players. Wales do not have the same option. So I can't do the same image.
There's a reason, because I don't think there's actually 11 good players.
Well, there's only 50 good Scottish players over the last 50 years, isn't there? So now with Wales, they'd have to create such a large database that it's different. Look, even the Englishman in the chat says there's no contest. Wales have had better players than Scotland. Yeah, see, that? Holgate, he knows his stuff.
Holgate,
exceptional football mind. Celtic are
Anybody
out
who
of the Champions League.
has a name
That's
called
that's how
Holmes.
good Scotland are. Celtic are out of the Champions League at the bloody preliminary stage again.
Hold on a minute.
Done.
I'm racking my brains here for
Over.
a second. How many Welsh teams have won it? The Champions League.
Won Champions League. Well, Gareth Bale won it single-handedly for Real Madrid, didn't he? So I mean, that probably
I'm
counts.
just racking my brains.
Racking your brains. Unfortunately, Gareth Bale literally won Real Madrid the European Champions League, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure that's a Spanish club.
Yeah, but he won it for him. If it wasn't for him, the Welshman,
the European Cup. Just racking my brains.
Cup. Say it right. Got to emphasise the P, Kev. Kevin McNaughton.
Danny McGrain had it in his hands.
Danny McGrain. Never even heard of him. Right. I'm pretty sure you made him up.
Oh,
Average.
You watch this boy. One of the best players the world has ever seen.
I will look him up. I know he is. I'm going to play.
You don't have a clue who he is.
He's no clue. So I do know who he is. Stupid. He's a very famous Scottish fullback.
See, Google it right now.
Don't need to Google it. Daniel. People used to call him Daniel because he was so reminiscent of like the Italian fullbacks in his time. He was superb. Very, very good. And I'm not Googling him as we speak. Danny McGrain, mate, they used to call him. Obviously, he played a lot of his time at Celtic. I believe he was born in the 50s, right? 1st of May 1950.
That's a common mistake. That's a common mistake.
Finiston. He was born in Glasgow.
Whereabouts?
Glasgow, in Finiston.
Okay.
Mate, someone who played 680 games plus for Celtic between like the 70s and 80s is obviously a good footballer.
Not bad.
Simple as that, isn't it? I'm going off the top of my head, like he probably played for some other teams, but it's just one of those things, mate. My memory is not what it used to be, but he had a little stint in management as well, of course. For Arbroath, did you know that? He won the Forfarshire. He won the Forfarshire Cup.
He was a crap manager.
He won a Forfarshire Cup. What's the Forfarshire Cup?
It's the shit cup.
Is that like the amateur? Is that the equivalent of like the
Welsh
Cup?
It's like the Welsh Cup. It's got the same sort
no
of
one cares.
level.
Right. So we will be back. Not with next week, but the week after. Keep an eye on your social media, guys, because the day may vary up a little bit in terms of what day we're on. Some weeks we might be on Friday after the championship show. Some days we'll be on a Wednesday, like this, 8 o'clock. We'll have to play it by ear, but it will be every other week for between 8 to 12 episodes. We don't know how many episodes yet, and we'll see how it goes. But we'll be back 2 weeks' time, and next episode we'll be doing our all-time Welsh 11 to pit against the Scottish 11, which Kev picked tonight, and I tweeted out. Please do give it a share. And of course, spread the word. I'll put the audio version of this show out tomorrow morning, and I'd appreciate it, guys, if you'd not only share it, but I'd really appreciate it if you'd also download it, even though you've just watched it. Download it, listen to it, help us, because obviously it's we're on this new.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing's caring, and the bits and the hips are gone. So, like Shakira, we have to support ourselves. Kev, it's been a pleasure, mate, as always. Always enjoy our rambling.
It's been fun, mate, and I can't wait to piss off
the
Welsh team.
Nah, mate. The only thing you'll be pissing over is those fish when they fly up the river Glasgow.
Well, if they've been dolphin trained, maybe.
Maybe, mate. But sorry, we've got the cameras at the ready. Right, guys, appreciate it. Spread the word. Say hello. We'll be back soon. See you Monday for the Andy Campbell Football Show. Sunday for the Danny Batten Fight Show. And see you soon for the next episode of Super Kev Unscripted. Nice one.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yes, you understood it. You fucking asked me that. Well, to be fair, I can't always get hold of you. Well, fuck, you can try. You're gonna shit like that.
You wasn't up to the standard. Are you talking about the same Eddie I was talking about? America.
Eddie Johnson.
Fuck yeah. This is what I used to sing every morning.
That, I'm adding that to the intro. You singing it and the real tune.
Motherfucking day.
Classic.
You just come in. You just come every morning and go,
America.
fuck yeah. Motherfucking day. That's what I used to say.
Yeah, I'd have to start my day. I'd be phoning him up every morning, like when we wake up. And
Eddie, you can't start the day like that. He went, fuck yeah. I used to say it every morning. I said, you've not scored on the wee well. What's your thoughts? And he just went, fuck yeah. Why are we so good at it? That's the reason of my play. Spent, my upbringing was, running away from the police. So,
going up to you and going, Kev! Game of Thrones is shite.
Oh my god.
McNaughton is taking out Miss Massey, our assistant. All in a day's work.